5, verse 15. So Joseph kissed all of his brothers, and he cried upon them. And afterwards his brothers spoke with him. Rashi says, since they saw him crying, and that his heart was whole with them, then they spoke with him, because at first they were ashamed in front of him. Means to say, once they saw him crying, that he genuinely liked them, then they started and they spoke with him. V'akol nishma beis Paro. The sound was heard in the house of Pharaoh, saying, Ba'u achei Yosef, the brothers of Joseph have come. Leitav beinei Pharaoh veinei avadav. And it was good in the house, in the eyes of Pharaoh, and the eyes of his servants. Rashi says, Akol nishma beis Paro means an actual house. Means to say, unlike in verse 2, where the word beit did not mean an actual house, there it just means the household. Here it means the actual house. Vayomer Paro al Yosef, and Pharaoh says to Yosef, and more al say to your brothers, Zotasu, this is what you shall do. Ta'anu es biyarchem, load up your animals, u'chu va'u artza Canaan, and go and come to the land of Canaan. Load up your animals with grain, Rashi says. And take your father, v'etbatechem, and your household, u'vo elai, and come to me. Ve'etna lachem et tu veretz Mitzrayim, and I'll give to you the best of the land of Egypt. V'echu et chela va'aretz, and you'll eat from the best of the land. Chapter 45, verse 19. Matatsu veisa zosaso, and here you are commanded to do this. Kechu achem meretz Mitzrayim, take for yourselves from the land of Egypt, agalos utachem, wagons for your babies or your children, uneshechem, and fill in shechem for your wives, unesatem esavichem uvatem, and transport your father, and you shall come. Rashi says, what does it mean, the best of the land of Egypt? Eretz Goshen. This refers to the land of Goshen. Niba, Niba. Paro was prophesying, doesn't know what he was saying. So, Famwa Sota Kemitsua Sheimba Dagim. In the end, Israel was going to make Egypt like deep water with no fish in it. Meaning to say, Pharaoh said to give Joseph the best of the land of Egypt. He was hinting to the Exodus when Bnei Israel would take everything of value. And what does it mean, the fat of the land? Kol chelav lashon meitafu. The word chelav means the best. Veinechem al tachos al koichem, and do not take pity on your vessels. Because the best of all the land is for you. Vayasu came Bnei Israel, and the children of Israel did this. Yosef agarot, and Joseph gave them wagons on the basis of what Pharaoh said. And he gave them food for the journey. All of them he gave a change of clothes. To Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver, and 5 changes of clothing. To his father he sent like this: 10 donkeys, no sim mituv Mitzrayim, 10 male donkeys carrying from the best of the land of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys, no sod bar v'lachem, carrying grain and food, and food for their father on the journey. Rashi says, Mituv Mitzrayim, Sheshalcho Yain Yashan. Rashi says, Matzinu b'Talmud. We find in the Talmud that he sent him, Megillah 60, he sent him old wine. Shadad Zakenim Nochemenu. Elderly people like it. Midrash Agada, Greece and Shalpol, it was split beans. Split beans. Hold on one second. You're everyone. And some of our best are on the Zoom.
Do you want to make me the co-host and I'll share with you?
All right.
But tell me the verse you're on too.
Okay. Let's do that. Let's make you the co-host. Hold on 1 second. Need to make Deborah the co-host. Make the co-host. Okay. We're chapter 45, verse 24.
24, okay. I'm switching to my computer, so hold on.
All right. Hello, Aviva. Hello, Mordechai. All right. Vayishalach es achav. Joseph sent off. We're chapter 45, verse 24. 45, verse 24. Simon, you know Aviva Mordechai? This is Aviva Mordechai. Chapter 45, verse 24. Vayishalach es achav. Vayilechu. Vayomer aleim al tirgazu badarach. And he sent off his brothers, and they went, and he said to them, don't fight on the road. Actually, al tergazu baderach doesn't mean don't fight. It means don't get upset. You know what he told them to do? This is a geschmack. Rashi says he told them, al tisasku b'dvar halacha. Don't study halachic matters on the road. Shelo tirgaz alechem haderach. Because then the journey will become a source of agitation. He said, don't become a matter of halacha because you're going to stop, you're going to look up your sources, you're going to be discussing it, and you won't go as quickly as you can. He says, just go home. Don't study the halacha along the way. Just travel straight. Don't stop to do the daf yomi. That's what Joseph said to them.
You gotta share with me together.
Okay, and then he says, alternatively, al tafsiu psia gasa, vikansu b'chamo ear. Don't take long steps and enter in the city while it's still daytime. Meaning to say, Yosef told his brothers, don't take steps that are too large, which is dangerous. It's the Gemara in Brachos 43b felt that would be dangerous. Well, fi pshuto, but the simple explanation of the verse is, they were ashamed. Ayudoik, he was worried. Shema yarivu badarach. Maybe they are going to start to fight on the way and blame each other. Advar machiraso, because of the sale. To argue with each other and to say, Ayatcha nimkar, through you he was sold. Atasi parta lashon hara. You're the one who said to us the lashon hara. Vigaram talanu was sanoso. You caused us to hate him. So they were worried it was going to be a big problem for that reason. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Oof. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay. Next verse says, Vayaluni Mitzrayim, verse 25, and they went up from Egypt Vayavo Eretz Canaan al Yaakov Avihem, and they came to the land of Canaan to Jacob their father. Vayagidu lo lemor, and they said to Jacob their father, verse 26, O Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. We actually did these psukim a little earlier, so I'm going to skip them. But he's ruler over all of Egypt. And his heart grew faint because he did not believe them. Later on, Rashi tells us that the only way he was able to believe Yosef was Serach was the one who told him, Serach, the daughter of Asher. Rashi tells us that later on. So we'll go to verse 28. Vayomer Yisrael. And Israel said, Rav o Yosef ben Ichai. There is much, Rav. Rashi says, I have much joy and gladness in my life because my son Yosef still lives. I will go and I'll see him before I die. My son Yosef still lives. I shall go and see him before I die. Okay. Chapter 46, verse 1. Vayisa Yisrael v'kol asher lo vayavo be'ir Shava. And Israel set out with everything that belonged to him, and he came to Be'er Shava. So basically, Yaakov goes out to travel, and he comes to Be'er Sheva, and he makes a sacrifice to the God of his father, Yitzchak. Has Yaakov been there before? I've been there. Have you been there? There wasn't Be'er Sheva. They didn't take you when you were in Israel? No, Be'er Sheva is not dangerous at all. It's a beautiful city. We didn't go on our trip, Aviva. I think we did. Were you with us when Shaul went with us out to eat one night? Shechem is Nablus. Yeah, that's a dangerous place. That's a rough place for a Jew. I know a friend of mine's father was murdered there. That's where you have the cemetery of Joseph. Joseph's grave is there, but Beersheba is totally fine. Beersheba, no, is in the south. Maybe you're thinking about Hebron. Hebron is fine, but there's different places in Hebron where Jews can go, and then there are places where Jews can't go. Although I've been throughout all of Hebron multiple times. We went to the yeshiva in Hebron. I've been throughout Hebron. Hebron is one of the holy cities, but Beersheba is like Hebron's like a small place. Oh, hold on one second. Sorry, I'm sorry for that. Somebody was calling to tell me they're coming to the Minyan, so I picked up for him. Yeah. So, what was I telling you? Oh, yeah. So Hebron is like, from the Jewish perspective, very few Jews lived there. I mean, not going to say very few, but it's not like Beersheba. Beersheba is a major city. Beersheba is a major city. I wouldn't be surprised if they had if you Google it, I wouldn't be surprised if they have 500,000 people living there. And Hebron probably has, and Kiryat Arba probably has 20,000. Google it, see what it is. Kiryat Arba, I would say it probably has 20,000, and Beersheba probably has 500,000. That'd be my guess. Hello, Yoav. How you doing, buddy? Okay. Shkoyach. Beautiful. So we're chapter 46. In Beersheba is 200,000? Okay, yeah, so whatever. I was in the hundreds of thousands. And Kiryat Arba is how many? Probably 20,000 be my guess, maybe less. We inflate the numbers. Okay, so I was doubled on both. I had the right ratio. Okay, so then, so Israel traveled and everything that belonged to him, they came to Beersheba, and he made sacrifice to the God of his father Isaac. Rashi says, why the God of his father Isaac? It is a very important point. Adam bechvod aviv yoser mi bechvod zikno. Why the God of his father Isaac? because a person has to honor his father more than he has to honor his grandfather. Your father has to honor your grandfather, but you have to honor your father. So therefore, the text tells us that it's dependent upon Isaac and not upon Abraham. Let me ask you a question. Is there a mitzvah of kibbud av va'em, honoring your father and mother on your grandparents? It's not. It's not the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to honor your father, and it's a beautiful thing, obviously, to honor your grandparents. But the mitzvah is to honor your father, not your grandfather. Meaning to say the actual mitzvah. So that's your obligation. Your obligation. We're discussing the obligation to honor your parents versus your grandparents. So there's no real mitzvah to honor your grandparents. I mean, there's general mitzvah to honor your elders, but you could be a grandfather and not old. You know, that is me. Me. I'm a grandfather, but I'm not old. Do I look old, Colby? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm mid. I look mid. All right. Vayomer Elokim Yisrael b'marot halayla. And God said to Israel in the middle of the night, he had a night vision, and he said, Vayomer Yaakov. You know, God said to Israel in the vision, in the visions of the night, and he said, Jacob, Jacob, and he said, Hineni, and he said, here I am. Rashi says, Lashon chibah. Whenever he doubles it, it's an expression of love. Where else do we have a doubling? Avraham, yeah, he called out the Amr, says it twice. Shmuel, yes, exactly right. Hold on one second. What? Moshe is also said twice, yes. Very nice, very nice. So, I don't know, all the people, we should look it up, all the people whose names appear twice in the Bible, that's... Well, here, no, oh yeah, here it says, Hineni, here I am. Okay. Hold on one second. Am I missing? I don't know, I'm just trying, oh, wait 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Just want to make sure we got everything under control. Hold on 1 second. Okay, whatever. Do the best we can. All right. So, oh, Ezra, Kobe, do me a favor. Text Ezra, make sure he's on his way. Tell him to come. Oh, he's here? All right, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, yeah. I was just counting in my mind. Yes, we will. God willing. God willing, we will, Yoav. All right, so the next pasuk says, Ayomer Anochi Akel Okei Avicha, I am the God of your father. Al Tiram Me'er Dam Mitzrayim, don't be afraid to go down to Egypt. Of course, he should be afraid, but God tells him not to be afraid. A great nation, I'll make you there. Rashi says, don't be afraid. He was upset. Yaakov was upset he was having to leave the land. He says, Anochi Erein Imcha Mitzrayim, I will go down with you to Egypt, Vanochi Alcha Gamalo, and I will bring you up. Rashi says, Ifticho, hey, Ezra, come in and sit right here. Right wherever you want to sit is good. So he says, he promised him, Lios Nikbar Ba'aretz, that he'd be buried in the land of Israel. And that was the promise that Hashem made to Yaakov. The Yosef Yoshit Yado Alenecha. What's the idea of being buried in the land of Israel? Has anybody thought about that? Does anybody want to be buried in the land of Israel? Have you thought about that? So the idea is that they won't worship you. That's why Yaakov didn't want to be buried. And also that it's supposed to be when the resurrection comes, that if you're in Israel, you get straight up. But if you're not in Israel, you're going to be rolling under the ground. But also the idea is on a symbolic level that you're making a point that this is the future of the Jewish people. People want to be buried where they think people will visit them, there'll be a community around them. And so by wanting to be buried in the land of Israel, you're making a point that this is the future of the Jewish people. More people used to say, I don't know if it's true, they used to say more people make Aliyah dead than alive. That they go up there dead. But I don't know if I want to be buried in the land of Israel. The Lubavitcher Rebbe is not buried in the land of Israel. So it's but okay. Vayakam Yaakov mi Beersheva. So Jacob got up from Beersheva. Vayisu b'nei Yisrael es Yaakov avihem ves tapam ves neshehem b'agolot shalach paro asetoto. Jacob got up from Beersheva. Children of Israel carried Yaakov, their father, and their children and their wives in the wagons that Pharaoh sent to transport him. Verse 6, Vayikhu es miknehem, and they took their cattle, ves rechusham, and their possessions, asher rachashu be'eretz Canaan, which they possessed in the land of Canaan, vayavo mitzrayma, they came to Egypt, Yaakov, kol zaro ito, Jacob and all his descendants. What is the possessions which they amassed in the land of Canaan? But that which he had amassed in Padan Aram, he gave it to Esav. He bought Maras HaMachpelah. He said, the possessions of outside the land, i.e., all that I got in Padan Aram, I don't want. And so therefore, this is what happens as Rashi says, Zeu asher kariti li, ha'amidu tziboron shel zahav v'shel kesef. He set up piles of gold and silver from Kri, like a heap. And he said to him, Toaseu, take these piles. So this is a midrash. It's not in the text of the Torah, but that Yaakov gave Esav piles of gold and silver in exchange for the portion of Marat HaMachpelah. Also, there's another midrash about Marat HaMachpelah. Do you know the other midrash? And when Yaakov came to be buried there, you know what happened? Esav said, no, that you never bought it for me. So do you know what happened then? So Naphtali had a son, Dan had a son named Chush. And what did he do? He was deaf. And when he heard what the delay was, he cut off Esav's head. And Esav's head ended up in the Marat HaMachpelah along with Yaakov. So now we see that who's buried in Marat HaMachpelah, along with the four couples, is also the head of Esav, because Esav had the potential to be great. He had the potential to be great. That's the concept there. Just because you're brilliant doesn't mean you can't be wicked. So Esav had the potential to be great, but he was wicked. And so then the verse tells us, Pasuk Zayin, Banav u'bnei banav ito, b'nosav u'bnos banav, v'kol zaro hevi ito, Mitzrayma. So his children, his sons, and his grandchildren, he brought with him his daughters. How you doing, Ben? Baruch Hashem. Welcome back from New Jersey. So his sons and his daughters, everything, but he was with him, and he brought with him to Egypt. The Elash, Rashi says, who is the daughters of his sons? That refers to Serach, the daughter of Asher, and Yocheved, the daughter of Levi. He brought them with him. So these two daughters are mentioned because they're the ones who are going to be most relevant, because, as we said, Sarah was the one who lives the longest, and because she was blessed with a long life because she told Jacob. And of course, Yocheved was the mother of Moshe. Yocheved was the mother of Moshe. Hello, Harold. Okay, so we can daven Mincha, I think, at this time. So we'll stop here. and we'll daven mincha.